Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alicia and today I'm going to go through my goals for 2022 and also 22 books I want to read in 2022. I honestly don't have that many goals, that many reading goals for 2022. Honestly, not many goals in general right now, but there are two that I have. One, I'm going to create a Storygraph reading challenge that I want to read 100 books. That's normally what I have been shooting for in the past couple years, ever since I have started using a tracking website to track what I read. And ever since I started a goal of how many books I want to read in a year, it's always been 100. I honestly don't see that number changing anytime soon. It is a nice round number. It's a nice easy number to get to, but also not like too easy. I have surpassed it every year that I've done the challenge so far, but there is always a moment that I'm worried I'm not going to. Even though like this year I'm at 111 books or something like that, and there's still like 2 weeks left in the year, and I'm hoping to get through at least 3 more books, which should work out because school's done. Finals are basically over by the time I'm filming this. So I should have time to like get to close to 115 books. But there was still a time where I was like, am I going to be able to read 100? Just because I'm never sure what my reading is going to look like. Anyway, all of that to say, I'm leaving my goal at 100 books. And then my other goal that I thought of is I would like to read at least one physical book that I check out from my library each month. I'm not very good about getting physical books from my library. I am really good about using them for audiobooks, but I'm really bad about using them for physical books just because it feels almost like a chore. Like I love going to the library, but because I haven't worked it into my routine, it feels like I don't have time for it. So one thing I would like to do in 2022 is set a goal to read one physical book that I check out from the library each month. My local library is a 20-minute walk for me, so I would also like to include in this goal that I would like to walk there when I can. There are some days and there are some seasons where walking just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like in the middle of August, I'm not going to be walking to the library. It's going to be too hot. I'm going to get sunburned. It's not worth it. So I'll just drive. But on the days that I can, I would really like to be able to walk to the library, pick up my books, spend some time there. It sounds lovely. Sounds like something I need to do more of, and that is why I'm making it one of my goals for 2022. With those goals out of the way, let's go ahead and jump right into the top 22 books I would like to read in 2022. It's not exactly 22 books because there are a few entries on this list that are series that I haven't started yet, and I just listed the whole series as something I would like to read in 2022. Now, hopefully that means I enjoy the whole series and get through the whole series, but it could also mean that I start the series and DNF the series, or, you know, any variation of how far I get into the series in 2022. Only time will tell with that one. The first book on this list is the third book in the Burnt Empire saga by Ashok K. Banker. This that I'm holding here is book number 2. I have read books 1 and 2. I read them both this year, I think. And based on the research I have been able to do, I don't know if anything new has come out. I haven't checked within the last few weeks. But based on the last information I was able to find, book number 3 in this series should be coming out next year, and definitely is high on my list of books I need to read next year. Because there are a lot of books on this list, I'm not going to go into too much depth about what each of these is about. The Burnt Empire saga is an epic high fantasy, and honestly, it is so good. There are so many perspectives, and there's a lot of timeline shifts, and I love all of it. Number 2 on this list is the Earthsea cycle by Ursula K. Le Guin. I have been wanting to read this ever since I read my first Ursula K. Le Guin book a few years ago. And from what I understand, this is like a YA/middle grade series. And I think it follows a wizard. That's all I really know. I just know that I enjoyed Ursula K. Le Guin's writing, so I want to read more work by her. And she will make another appearance on this list a little later. Number 3 is anything by Octavia E. Butler. I have Kindred on my Kindle app, so that will be the book most likely that I read. I have never read anything by Octavia E. Butler, and I didn't realize for the longest time that what she wrote was kind of sci-fi. So I thought it was like classic, and like I always imagined it similar to Jane Austen or like Jane Eyre, like the Bronte sisters type work. I always thought it was kind of more in that vein, and I was like, not really interested because I don't really like Jane Austen. I have read Jane Eyre and it was fine, but I haven't read anything else by the Bronte sisters because the more I hear about it, the more I'm like, okay, maybe I'll try it out. But in the past, it just hasn't really sounded that interesting to me. Anyway, all of that being said, I didn't really realize what Octavia E. Butler wrote about, and then I started hearing what it was actually about, and I was like, okay, I need to read something by Octavia E. Butler. I have Kindred on my Kindle app, so that is probably what I will get to first. Number 4 is The Last King of Ostenard series. This is a series that is currently being published by Tad Williams. The first book in the series is The Witchwood Crown. I know at the very least the first 2 books are out. The third one might be coming out this year or next year. I'm honestly not really sure. I didn't look into it because I know my husband has been reading these. He's been the one who's been keeping track. And also I want to dive into this series before I research when the book is going to come out or if it's already out. So this is on my list. I have enjoyed Tad Williams in the past. I've read 2 other series by him and I enjoyed both of them. So I'm looking to branch out and read some of his other stuff as well. Number 5 on this list is Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is the first book in a sci-fi duology. I remember hearing about it and thinking like, oh my gosh, that sounds really good. I'm also a little hesitant because I've heard there's giant spiders and I'm terrified of spiders. But normally I do okay in books because my brain is so non-visual when I read books that I don't actually picture the spiders. So I normally don't get too scared. This book, like I said, I heard about it, sounded really good. It's sci-fi. I think there is space travel. That's all I need to know to want to read it. And it has been getting really good reviews. So it is on the list. Number 6 on this list is Seasonal Fears by Seanan McGuire. Seasonal Fears is like a companion novel to Middle Game by Seanan McGuire. And it is not, from what I understand, a direct sequel. But it also comes out next year, and I'm really excited about it. I'm excited to get back into this world, and also just more Seanan McGuire. I have been really enjoying Seanan McGuire's writing recently, so I'm just excited to have more of it. Number 7 is The Maid by Nita Prose. This is a book that I was like trying to find books that are coming out soon. I was looking, honestly, for the end of 2021 because I'm really bad at keeping up on new releases. I genuinely, most of the time, do not know what's coming out soon. And I'm trying to be better about that because I feel like that is something that it would be nice to, like, actually know a little bit about what is being released currently, especially in the world of sci-fi. This is not a sci-fi. This is a mystery thriller, from what I remember, basically about a woman who works as a maid at a hotel, and I believe one day as she's cleaning, she finds a dead body. I think that's kind of the basic premise of it. It sounded interesting when I read it. When I read the synopsis, there wasn't a whole lot of information, so that's just kind of what I have, but it sounded interesting, and it comes out next year, so here it is. Next is the Daevabad Trilogy by S.A. Chakraborty. This is a series I've heard a lot about, and from what I understand, basically it's about this woman who can understand, like, the material around her and, like, knows the language of the things around her and can therefore manipulate them. Kind of like magic, but a very logical kind of magic from how I've heard it described. This is another book that I've just heard a lot about. It sounds really good whenever I hear someone describe it, but it is one that, like, sitting here in the moment, or if you asked me just randomly, I don't think I'd be able to describe it to you because it never really sticks in my brain what it's about, but I always think it sounds good. So it has been on my list for a while, and I decided 2022 is the year I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna read it. Number 9 on the list is Old Man's War, and this whole series by John Scalzi. This book has been sitting on my shelf for a very long time, and I just need to get to it. I just need to read it. It's not that long. I know it's a series, but from what I've been able to see, from what I understand, all of the books in the series are about this long. They're really short. Also, like, it's a tiny little book. It's not very tall either. So it should be a quick series to get through if all the books are this short. And 2022, I'm going to do it. It's like a sci-fi modern classic, so I'm going to go for it. 2022 is the year. Number 10 on this list is another Ted Williams, and that is the Shadowmarch series by Ted Williams. This is my brother-in-law's favorite Ted Williams series. So when I talk to him about books and we talk about Ted Williams, I always talk about Otherland because that is the best one I have read yet. But he tells me he thinks Shadowmarch is better. And he's been telling me this for years. So I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to finally read Shadowmarch and see what I think. Number 11 on this list is Jews Don't Count by David Baddiel. This is a book that I heard about on YouTube from a Jewish YouTuber who is not really a booktuber. She does talk about books occasionally, but not really what she talks about most of the time. And this book is about being Jewish, and also how oftentimes nowadays when we talk about marginalized communities, we sometimes overlook Jews. Number 12 on this list is The Chronicles of Prydain by Lloyd Alexander. This is the first book in the series. The second book in the series is The Black Cauldron. So the reason I want to read this is because I know of that movie. I honestly can't even remember right now if I've watched the movie, but I know this is a well-beloved children's series, and I've never read it. I own all of the books. We bought them all at once because I think my husband read it when he was little and he wanted to reread it. So we bought all of the books, and I've never read it. So I want to reread it. They've also been sitting on my shelves for a little while and I haven't read them. And again, how many times am I going to say this? 2022 is the year. Number 13 on this list is Don't Call Me Crazy, edited by Kelly Jensen. This is a short story collection about mental health, and this is the oldest book on my Storygraph to be read list. As in, it is the book that has been on that list the longest, not the oldest in publication date. I would really like to go through my Storygraph list of books I want to read and start at the back and just kind of work my way through some of them, or just remove some of them from there if they no longer sound interesting. And I'm kind of starting that with Don't Call Me Crazy. It is the oldest book on that list, and I have had it on there for years, and I really just need to read it. Number 14 is The Martian by Andy Weir. I don't know why I haven't read this yet. I have Project Hail Mary sitting on my shelf. It is a book that I want to finish before the end of the year. If I can, fingers crossed that I'm able to get through it. I'm honestly fully expecting to love Project Hail Mary and to want to read more of Andy Weir's books. So next year I'm planning to read The Martian. Number 15 on this list is A Winter's Promise by Christelle. Dabos. This is a book, like a few of these books on here, that I've just heard so much about, and every time I hear about it, it sounds interesting, but I don't always remember what it's about. So I don't really have a good synopsis for it. I know it's fantasy. It sounds really good every time I hear someone talk about it, so I want to finally get around to it in 2022. This is another book that is on kind of like the deeper end of my Storygraph to be read list. I added it a number of years ago. It's honestly only like 5 entries after Don't Call Me Crazy. So part of the reason I want to read it in 2022 is because I'm trying to work through some of those older entries on the list. Number 16 on the list is The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan. This is a book that has been sitting on my shelf for a while. It's historical fiction. It follows the immigrant experience in America, from what I understand, and follows the lives of, I think, 4 Chinese women as after they immigrate here and kind of their lives here in the United States. And it is a book that I've heard nothing but good things about, so I will be reading it in 2022. Number 17 on the list is Illumination by Terry McGarry. This is a book that is getting to the point that I either need to read it or unhaul it. In my Try a Chapter video that I did a little while ago, I read the first chapter of this, and I talked about how I picked this up at like a going out of business sale. Not really going out of business sale, a moving sale for one of my local bookstores when they had to shut down the location they were at. And I didn't really know much about it. I bought it because I read the back and it sounded interesting. This was a number of years ago, so I really don't remember what it said, but I read the back and it sounded interesting, and it was like $1 or $2. Everything was like so cheap, so I just picked it up, and it's getting to the point, like I said, I either need to read it or I need to unhaul it. Number 18 on this list is The Dispossessed by Ursula K. Le Guin. I picked this up because of Michelle Lexie. It sounds really good, so I'm going to read it in 2022. Honestly, I'm probably going to read this before I read the Earthsea cycle. I'm probably going to try to pick this up actually within January or February, and probably won't get to the Earthsea cycle until a little bit later in the year. But like I said earlier, I just want to get into more of Ursula K. Le Guin's writing. Also, Michelle Lexie talked about this recently, and when she talked about it, it sounded really interesting. So it is on the list. Number 19 on the list is A Memory Called Empire by Arkady Martine. This is a book that I've heard nothing but good things about, and it's sci-fi, and I'm really excited to read it. There's 2 books out in the series, so I would like to read both of them in 2022. I was actually kind of hoping to get to this one before the end of the year, but it's just not going to happen, I don't think. So I'm going to officially say I'm going to read this one and the second one in 2022. There should be a third one forthcoming, but from what I understand, there has been no information released about it, and no one knows when it will be coming out. So in 2022, I will just be happy with the first 2. Entry number 20 on this list is V by A.C. Crispin. This is a book based on the TV show V, and they have done 2 editions. They've released the TV show twice. What's the right words for it? There was an old version and a new version. I have watched both of them. My family would sit around the TV and we would watch the new one specifically. I remember watching as the new one came out. The old one we would just watch because it was all released by the time I was born. But every time a new episode of the new series of V came out, we would gather around the TV and watch it. So I want to read the book. And it's sci-fi. Aliens come to Earth. I love first encounter stories, so I'm excited to see what the book does. It is a little bit different in that this was written after the TV show, from what I understand, so I'm not sure what to expect. I do think it would be fun to read this, though, and then watch one or both of the shows again. Number 21 on this list is Off Armageddon Reef by David Weber. This is a book that's on my shelf, and it's sci-fi. It says Earth is dead, humanity is hiding. Invention, progress, change are all forbidden. It's time to change all that. This science fiction epic of the decade begins here. So, I'm in. Like, that's all I need to know. It's on my shelf. It's a sci-fi. I think I already said that, but I'm saying it again. I don't really need another reason to want to read this. It's been on my shelf for a while, so it's going to happen. Again, I'm trying to keep control and keep the number of unread books I own to a manageable level. I have one small shelf that they all sit on, and I don't really have space for it to grow beyond that. So I need to read some of these books as I keep getting more, or some of them are going to need to be unhauled. And book number 22, the last book on this list, is honestly the book that I'm most hesitant about, and that is A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. This is a book that I have been meaning to read for a very long time. I've heard it is beautifully written, and I know a lot of people have read it and have loved it, and I've had the opportunity to read it a number of times. I've even had the audiobook on hold and like checked out from my library, and I just haven't picked it up because I know this book is gonna destroy me. Like, everyone talks about how sad it is, and like it's still a good read from what I understand. It's definitely still worth reading, but I am worried about the emotional turmoil, which is why I haven't read it yet. But it's going to happen. I have no more excuses. I have to read it in 2022. Those are the top 22 books I would like to read in 2022. I could go on. I could mention Becky Chambers, because there are a couple of her books I haven't read yet that I would love to read in 2022, but I figure I talk about her too much, so I don't need to talk about her in this video. But I did anyway. Let me know down in the comments some books you would like to read in 2022. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!